Okay, so in the last video I showed you how to enter the data. It all looks like this. What I'm going to do now is show you how to make a graph of it. So what we need to plot is teaspoons of Ribena against the 3 sets of absorption values here. So the way we can do that is if I put my cursor over there and I drag all the way down to select those squares there. Then if I go over here and I press the control button down, I can click in square F2 and then drag that across and down, then only let go of the mouse button and the control key when I've selected all of those as well. So that allows me to select multiple parts of the spreadsheet using the control key like that. So what I want to do now is I want to make a graph. So if I go to the top and go Insert, and over here where it says Charts, I want one of these charts here. So I'm going to click there, select the first chart type there, like that. And you'll see it generates a chart with me with the 3 sets of data plotted, teaspoons of Ribena against the bottom, and absorption values up the side here. So that's our basic chart. So let's work on prettifying it a bit. The first thing I want to do, I'll put some titles on the axes. So if I click on this plus sign at the side and go for axis titles, like that, you'll see it's put axis title against each axis. So if I double click on at the bottom, I can select that. No, let's try that again. And I can type in there teaspoons of Ribena. And then if I double click on the other one there, select it like that, I can type absorption. Okay, so I've got my axis titles, that's good. I'm just going to click somewhere else. There we are. What else would I like to do? So what I'd like to do really is to make my red data red, my green data green, and my blue data blue. So let's do that. So if I click on a blue dot, it selects all the blue dots for me. And then over here on the right hand side it says Format Data Series. And I want to format the markers. So I'm going to click on Marker. And what I want to do is I want to make the fill, that's the colour of the dot, red. So I can select that here. I'm going to choose red. Ching. I also want the border around the outside to be red. So again, I'm going to go red. Well, so I've made my red data red. Let's do the same for the green one. So select marker, choose green. Green border as well. And this is the blue data series, so I click on one of those. I'm going to go for blue, light blue. Okay, so the red data is red, my green data is green, and my blue data is blue. What I'd like to do at the bottom here is change these to red, green, and blue. So if I go up to the top bar at the top here and go for Select Data, if I select the R series here and click Edit, it allows me to type in a title. So I'm going to type in red to the series name. Okay. Do the same for green. So select that one there and go Edit. I'll type in green. I can do the same for blue. Okay. You could also tell it to use whatever is in these cells up here. So you could just type red, green, and blue in there as well. So when I've done that, I'm going to click OK. Now you'll see it says red, green, and blue here. I've decided that I don't want a title on my chart. So if I go over here, I can click the plus sign there and then just unselect chart title. That will disappear. Good. The last thing I'd like to do is try and join up my dots. And we're going to do this using what's called a trend line. And this is where the computer tries to put a line through the dots as best it can. So if I click here on where it says trend line, let's do the red series first. So I'm going to put a trend line through the red dots. Okay. And in this chart elements menu here, so if I click plus and chart elements, and then if I click this little arrow on the right and then select more options, it gives me a choice of formatting the trend line. So I want to change that to red, so I'm going to change the color red. And then on this one here with the 3 bars, if I select that, I want to display the equation on the chart and display the R squared value on the chart as well. And as I've ticked those, what you'll notice is that some text has appeared here. If I click on that, it gives me a little box around it, which I can then drag so it's somewhere where I can see it a bit better. Okay. You'll notice that I've made a cock up here and I've accidentally added 2 trend lines. Not quite how I've managed that. If I just delete that one there by selecting it and hit delete, it's gone. It's good. Okay. Let's do the same for the blue. So if I select the blue data, go plus trend line. Now if I select more options, for the color here, using the paint can, I can change that to blue. Using the 3 bars here, I can make it display the equation and the R squared value. I can remove those some that way. And then finally, for the green, I'm going to go plus trend line, more options, display equation and R squared, and then change the color to green. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to close this menu here now with a little X. There's my graph. I can make it a bit bigger by grabbing the handle at the bottom and putting it that way. Now I don't want all these linears to appear at the bottom. So what I can do is I can if I double click on that legend entry there, I can just press my delete key, disappear, same for that one there. And notice that this is just deleting the text at the bottom of the graph here. It's not actually deleting the lines themselves. So there we are. There's a nice looking graph. It's got all my data plotted on it. It's got my lines going through and it's got the equations on it. Now these equations here, they tell me how well the straight line is going through the data points. The R squared value here is a measure of how well it fits, and basically the closer to 1 it is, the better. So these 2 here aren't too far off. This one here isn't very good. Don't worry about those for the time being.